Reading today, 2 Timothy 3, starting in verse 27, verse 1, where it says, "But understand this, that in the last days there will come times of difficulty." This is all going to sound very familiar because it's going to sound a lot like what's happening right now. Understand this, that in the last days there will come times of difficulty, for people will be lovers of self. Selfie. Lovers of money, proud, arrogant, abusive, disobedient to their parents, ungrateful, unholy, heartless, unappeasable, slanderous, without self-control, brutal, not loving good, treacherous, reckless, swollen with conceit, lovers of pleasure rather than lovers of God, having the appearance of godliness, but denying its power. Avoid such people. I had the thought the other day that we're in a war. Maybe sometimes we have the wrong perspective. Sometimes when we think about the end times, we think about Christ's return, and we think about the church and its job and false teaching and all those things. Sometimes I think we get lulled into thinking that, well, it's bad now, but it's not the worst part yet. And when it gets to the worst part, that's when I'll gear up, and that's when I'll join the battle, and that's when I'll go out and fight. But really, the war is going on right now, the invisible war all around us, a spiritual one that's going on. And so how much more so do we need to think that way? And Paul nails it. I mean, in the last days, there will be times of difficulty. People will be lovers of self, lovers of money, proud, arrogant, abusive. He could have just said more evil, more sinful. Instead, the very specific words that he uses and just how descriptive they are and just how perfectly they match up with what we see growing in the world around us. And that not only that, but these such people are going to have an appearance of godliness, but denying its power. Avoid such people. These are the people who profess to be believers, who profess to be genuine teachers in the church, when really, so on the outside, the world outside, they look like, smell like, talk me, and looks like a duck, smells like a duck, walks like a duck. They look like they're Christian. They claim to be Christians and all this stuff, but they're not. They are not Christian. They actually fall into the category that Paul describes in the first verses of 2 Timothy 3. And we're to avoid such people, mark and avoid, and fight against that, fight for the faith. And so I think that's a good reminder as we enter into this, what I believe. I mean, we're closer to the end of days than ever before. We're one day closer to Christ's return than we were yesterday. And I'm sure all believers say, gosh, it's got to be close. Oh, it's got to be close, But I know all believers have said, I know the Thessalonians were thinking that way. But at the same time, this is much later in the game than the Thessalonians. And at the same time, we do see the signs that Jesus and that God, through the other people in the Bible like Paul, have expressed to us that the end is coming. So all the more reason to read God's word, know it, so we can tell the false from the true, so that we can walk in righteousness, and so that we can glorify God in everything that we do, including singing, which we'll do right now.